Hey everybody, welcome back to Back Log Banter. Today we're doing a very special video, something that's very close to both of our hearts. We're going to talk about a series that is quite important to us, but first we're going to all take a moment, we're going to take a pause for the cause, if you will, because we need to admire my new hoodie. This is a new Super Nintendo hoodie I have. If I turn around for you, look at that. It's got Super Nintendo on the front and the back. It's got fun colors. It's got nice patterns. It's very comfortable. Target for $25. I went to Target for 1% Horizon Milk, and I walked out with a hoodie. What does that say about me? Who knows? You know what else is going to say questionable things about me and my opinions, my morals, my foundations as a human being, my opinion on the ranking of the Pokemon series. And that, my good friends, is what we're talking about today. I'm joined, of course, by Tucker Hazel, and there are very few series that are more important to the two of us as a collective than Pokemon. Now, This is not our first ranking. Let's all take a step back. This isn't. We're not stepping into a fucking parallel dimension. This isn't the middle 15 minutes of 2001: A Space Odyssey. This is familiar territory. We made a video called "The Ultimate DC Rank Off." It was shirtless. It was sensual. It was a wonderful piece of content. There's a card in the corner.
Yes.
We will not be shirtless this video, but we will be hitting you with some very hot and heavy takes as we take you through our two-part journey into the wonderful world of Pokemon, as Professor Oak would introduce you to at the beginning of each game. Now keep in mind, folks, there's a couple of ground rules here for this discussion. First of all, we're recording this all at one time, but you'll see this video in two parts. Part one will be ranking Gen 1 to Gen 4. The second part will be adding Gen 5 to Gen 8 into that ranking. We are making one holistic ranking of the entire mainline series, but we're just splitting it into two parts, mainly for traction and views, not for artistic integrity. Second ground rule. This is Back Log Banter's official ranking. What's the criteria? Well, you can go fuck yourself and don't ask another question. Sit in the back of the room quietly, face the corner. Third ground rule. We're going to be talking about each iteration of a game. So we're not saying we're going to fucking rank Pokemon Red separate from Pokemon Blue, folks, but what we are going to do is we're going to talk about Red, Blue, Yellow, Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Let's Go all separately, and they're all going to have their own separate positions in the ranking for clarity. Now, that's been a long-winded intro, but I think it's one of the best we've ever done. Not to pat myself on the back in my very nice new fucking hoodie. Leave a compliment for me in the comments below to inflate my ego. Now, Tucker, I've done a lot of talking. I want you to fucking spin a yarn.
Okay, well, a couple of things I wanted to say to that, but it was such a beautiful intro and beautiful speech. I couldn't bring myself to interrupt. But there's two things that you neglected to mention. First off, this is a new video format for both of us. I am recording my screen separately, and the usual our videos on a different software, so I cannot see Abram and I cannot see myself, which is a little bit weird because I've been able to do that in every single video so far. So he's gesturing at himself, he's flexing in his hoodie, you know, he's making faces at me probably, who knows, but I can't see him. So that is going to make a little bit of difference. But also, I am on a website called Back Log, which we're going to be using to rank the Pokemon games. You can follow me on Backlog, shameless plug. I barely have any followers on here. But the other thing that we have to bring up is that this is one list. We're taking both of our opinions and we're going to mishmash them into the ultimate Backlog Banter Pokemon ranking. I don't know. Oh, I have to click new list. That's right. He can't see this screen, by the way. This is a whole set of things that each of us have our own perspective on. But as we go through the Pokemon games, we're going to be deciding where things go. And coming out on the other end, you know, we might not be alive at the end of this, but there will be a Pokemon list, which is really all that matters. So we're going to start this off by titling this list Backlog Banter's Ultimate Pokemon. And I'll add the E with the friggin' ascot. What's it called? An accent? Yes. Later on. Okay, Abram, what have you got to say for me about Pokemon? Are you there?
I was having a personal conversation with the audience. I can't wait for you to watch this video.
Oh my god. Okay.
I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
I have to edit all this together.
You're gonna have some fucking fun things to look forward to. But so obviously here's how we're gonna fucking do it. We're just gonna put generation 1 down, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6, and then 7, and then 8.
All right.
So what that
Pokemon
means,
Red.
is that we're not starting with what we think is both our least favorite. We're just going to fucking build the blocks as the blocks that need to be built.
Yes. As I've put down tentatively, Pokemon Red.
Pokemon Red currently in both first and last place.
Yes. All right.
Now, humble viewers, I'm making with some pen and paper to follow along because we're fucking stupid. I don't know how I could look at the screen at the same time.
Yeah. We'll figure this out eventually if we make more videos like this. There's certainly a better way to do this, but yes. We're dumb. Okay.
Hot opinion here. I think we should talk about Fire Red when we get to Gen 3 and talk about.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fucking. Let's go when we get to Gen 7 because it's a Gen 7 game, but not a Gen 8 game.
Yes.
Folks.
I agree with that. I was gonna say something.
And keep in mind, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the most charitable versions of each gen. So what I mean is we're talking about when we get here to Gen 2, we're gonna talk about Crystal. And then when we get to
Gen
3, we're going to talk about Emerald. Just because that keeps it a little bit more concise, and I think it's most charitable to each gen to talk about the version that is the most fleshed out. However, there'll be instances like Gen 5 where Black 1 is very different than Black 2, so we'll rank those separately.
Of course, those are different games.
Yeah. So the sequel games we'll talk about differently. And keep in mind, we've played all of these games. The only one I haven't played, so I'm going to have to give deference to Tucker on, is Ultra Sun / Moon.
Okay, yes.
That's the only game in the entire franchise I have not played.
Sure, sounds good.
But now we're
into Crystal. Okay, we're preemptively talking about something from part 2, all right? Which is still part 1 because we're recording this all in one video, but I don't think we should include Ultra Sun and Moon because those are more of an Emerald or a Platinum.
Okay, that's fine with me.
They're not sequel games like Black and White 2 were. That's the only extra that we're gonna continue because they're not remakes either. All right.
Okay.
We can add them. We can add them later. We can do whatever we damn well please. But as of now, I don't think it's necessary. I think we should say those over Sun and Moon because they're very similar.
Now we do Crystal. I think at least for now, I can very safely say that I put Crystal above Red.
Yes, I would agree.
Yes,
I mean,
very safe.
It's also basically includes Red.
To an extent,
game. Yeah,
I mean, Kanto's a little bit funky.
Yeah,
it's a little bit funky in Gen 2, but
we didn't talk about Kanto, but you know what? We have talked about Kanto in the Ultimate Kanto discussion debate. I don't remember what it's called, but the Great Kanto debate, I think it was called.
And we'll get into more actual fucking debate when we need to place more things. But we're humble bricklayers right now. You know what I'm saying?
These bricks just happen to be Pokemon box arts, and they have some pretty good box art on here already. I'm very excited for this. Okay.
All right, Emerald. This is where I think it's gonna get spicy. I still would put Emerald above Crystal and above Red. Okay.
Yes. I have a lot more connection to Gen 3 than I do either Gen 1 or 2. I've played both of those games. I have played
interesting.
Silver and I've played Blue, which is neither of these, but I've played the generations, the original versions. But I have a lot more connection to Ruby and Emerald, which were some of my very first Pokemon games, and I very much enjoyed those.
Yeah,
so I certainly in top.
Yeah, I'll get more into it when we need to really fucking go to bat for these games.
Okay.
But now we need to put in Fire Red. This is where it's going to get interesting.
That's true. All right.
This is where it's going to get fiery. Because you know where I put Fire Red? At the top.
Okay. Now, you're right. We're getting a little spicy here. I would put it second because of the connection that I have
below
to
Emerald. Okay.
Yes, I put it below Emerald because as I've said, as I've gone on record in the Great Kanto debate, I don't really think that Kanto is that well designed. And I think that the expansion that has been added in future games, it just makes it almost obsolete. But I mean, I still had a good time when I played Fire Red back when I was a kid. But I just think Hoenn's a more interesting region to explore. I think that the mechanics in the game are better. I honestly prefer the music. I love the Gen 3 soundtrack. Obviously, Emerald is an expanded version. I don't know.
You're raising a lot of good points. Here's what I would counter you with. I think that Fire Red and Leaf Green are a very polished set of titles. And I think they represent what comes pretty close to be a flawless Pokemon experience when you discount the fact that, yes, it doesn't include Pokemon from other gens. As purely in the context of itself, I think Fire Red is a wonderful example of how to bring Kanto forwards without overcomplicating it and while keeping its spirit intact But I think the points you're raising about how expansive Emerald is, about what it adds to the series, the volume and depth
Yeah.
of that game, I'm happy with putting it below Emerald, but above RSC.
Yes.
Yes.
RSC. That.
Ruby, go GSC.
Yes.
Fuck.
Gold, silver,
Yes.
and crystal. Yes. Not.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I think that's fine. The reason I'm not pushing for this a ton. I do really, really like Emerald, but there's going to be another push later on. All right. And
I'm nervous what this push is going to be.
Before we push,
Mm-hmm.
I need to go grab my jacket because I'm shivering and that's weird.
We don't want you shivering. Do you want me to talk? He left. I don't know if this is going to get cut out. This is very interesting.
Are you talking?
We're in an interesting position right now. I can see your toilet. The line of sight through the apartment right now is something incredible.
I hear you talking through my headphones.
Yeah. Well, I can see your toilet. I was commenting about the size and scope of your toilet.
Oh yeah, it is back there. I usually have my door closed. I don't have a roommate around right now, so
You're letting it all hang out, and I appreciate that.
I'm gonna tell you one thing, and
I want you to tell me two things.
Well, too bad, because I have one thing to say is that we're almost done ranking gens 1 through 4.
I don't think it's gonna be a 2-part video, folks.
No, I don't think this is gonna be a 2-part. It's going to get exponentially harder to do, but I thought that ranking 4 gens versus 4 gens was going to be equal length, but that is just objectively.
Well, maybe we're going to have a lot to say about Gen 4.
Okay, all right, let's see. Now I guess we're just going for Platinum.
Platinum goes to the top. That's what I'm telling you right now.
I agree.
Okay. You know, that was very easy. We don't have a lot to say.
I think it is probably just because. Okay, so what was your first Pokemon game?
Platinum.
Yeah, well, mine was Pearl. So, and then I got Platinum pretty shortly thereafter. I do think, for me, I think Platinum is it's the best third version. Only because of, I think that the ways it changes the game are almost more substantial than any of the other ones.
Well, I think it's substantial because if we're talking about Diamond and Pearl, I think they'd be a lot lower because Diamond and Pearl are a lot more flawed than Platinum is.
Yeah.
Those are fucking flawed games.
Yeah.
But I think if we're talking about Platinum, I think is one of the most mechanically interesting games from a challenge perspective. I think from a region design, I love Sinnoh. I really think there's a lot to enjoy about those games. And I've had a lot of bias towards them, but I think they feel very iconic and very well executed upon. I think that the bias is what this whole list is. So I think that is perfectly, you should be able to say that, and people can suck it up if they hate it. Now, here's an interesting, I was just gonna give my reasonings behind Platinum. Talk about it.
It's because, at least in comparison to the other third versions, Platinum has a Pokédex expansion that neither Emerald or Crystal has the capability to have. I mean, there's a lot more Pokemon in Platinum than there were in Diamond and Pearl. It fleshes out the region a lot more. I mean, the lack of fire Pokemon in Diamond and Pearl is a classic criticism. But I mean, they added at least a couple of lines to balance out and flesh out the Pokédex, and I think
they also flesh out the story.
Yeah, exactly. I was getting there. Of course, the story is it's a different spin on it, and also, I mean, they did things that they didn't really have to. I mean, the game starts and you're in Twinleaf Town and it's snowing. I mean, they didn't have to do that. It shows that there's a little more attention to detail and expansion that there really wasn't in Emerald or Crystal compared to their original versions.
And I think also beyond that, just speaking of Gen 4 as a whole, like the proper physical special split, the introduction of Wi-Fi battling, there is a lot that's really important about that gen. And I think makes it far more ambitious and interesting than what came before it, even though they were, especially Crystal was ambitious in its own ways. But
of course, yeah.
But now we gotta put Heart Gold, Soul Silver in the list.
That's true. Now, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I'm gonna put Heart Gold.
Okay.
Man, this is the first time that the box art has changed. The Pokemon logo has been on the top for everyone else, and now it's on the bottom. Thank you, Heart Gold.
I'm curious where you want to put this game.
For me, it's pretty squarely at third, behind Platinum and Emerald.
Okay.
But so I'm gonna tentatively put it there, and you can argue up and down. All right, that's just gonna be my
I
baseline.
would put it below platinum, but
Okay,
above emerald.
sure.
And the reason for it is that I think these really feel like a statement from Game Freak of them taking what was supposed to be their final game, Crystal, and expanding upon it and fleshing it out and polishing it to be a, I think, a Pokemon experience that still stand, even with its mechanical limitations in comparison to where we are now,
Yeah,
stands as perhaps the most elegant example of earlier Pokemon. I
sure.
think the following Pokemon is an incredible touch. I think
That's
the
true.
design of Johto with everything that does, from the phones to the apricorns to everything that makes that region special, the design of it, the challenge of a fight like Whitney's Miltank, the fact that they made Kanto feel fun to explore again, the fact that the game's so packed full of content, all of the little side things you could do, like those mini games are a ton of fun. I really think that Heart Gold and Soul Silver are excellent games. I would put them below Platinum just because I prefer Sinnoh's Pokedex, I prefer Sinnoh's region, but I think from a mechanical perspective, from a polish perspective, from an execution perspective, I think it's bigger in scope than Emerald. I think it's I think it's more elegant than Emerald. I think it's probably the most complete package in the entire series. I
Yeah.
think they push it above and beyond in a lot of ways. So I would put it below Platinum, above Emerald.
Yeah, and I actually, honestly, you have convinced me. Now, here's the thing. That was a gut reaction me putting into it.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
that was me. I will put it out there. I have always
Put it
been
out there.
somewhat anti Johto. All right,
Okay.
I don't have the nostalgia or the love for Johto that it seems like almost everyone else does. When I was
Mhm.
growing up, the new Pokemon that they introduced in Johto, like the 100 new Pokemon they added, were some of my favorites. I've really liked that batch of Pokemon. But for me, except for the fact that I remember these games coming out, and you remember everyone having their Pokewalkers and them all being inevitably stuck in the washing machine and broken. And I mean, I did most of my trading on these games. Like my first trading of Pokemon was through Heart Gold and Soul Silver, just because that was what
Mhm.
was popular when I was a kid. Um, but yeah, I remember when these games came out, and it was definitely a moment. But for some reason, I just did not connect to these games. I mean, I liked the or no, what's it what, in the national park or whatever. There's a bug
Yeah.
catching contest. Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. I really like that. I do like the visual design of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I think that
Yeah.
sprite work is absolutely fantastic, and it gives Johto this like almost glossy, like elegant feel to it, just because it's like got a really interesting color palette. I
It's
like
that
that a
really
lot.
warm feel.
Yeah, I think that's the word I was looking for. But other than that, I just don't really have a connection to Johto. I don't really even I don't remember the story almost at all. I
My
mean, Red
appreciation,
Gyarados, Team
sure.
Rocket is back, but like I don't even know if I ever got to the fight with Red again. Like I can't remember playing through Kanto in Heart Gold and Soul Silver because honestly I think I probably just stopped like shortly after, um,
Yeah.
which is my own fault. And honestly, if I were to go back and replay the games and push through to the actual very end, I think that would be different. But I one thing I do remember is the level or the leveling in the game feeling a little bit weird because of the fact that it's two regions. And I remember being a little off put by the fact that some of my Pokemon weren't even like fully evolved by the time I was at the Elite Four of Johto because they prepared the games for you to have a second region to go through.
The level scaling is strange, especially in Kanto, because Kanto's pretty non-linear in
Yeah,
terms of what badges you take on, which I think makes it interesting. But I think my appreciation for, because I used to be in the same boat where Johto it was just Johto, and I
yeah,
loved the Pokemon, but it was whatever. But learning more about the history of those games, learning about how Game Freak really designed Gen 2 to be their last gen,
hmm,
I got a lot of appreciation for just the way that game is constructed, and then seeing the ways that they fully executed and modernized that vision in Heart Gold
yeah.
Soul Silver for me pushes it really high.
Okay, I'm gonna secede my one place loss. I mean, honestly, you make really compelling arguments, and I will. As I said, I've put out the fact that I just don't have the connection to these games,
Yeah.
and that's what's putting them lower. Not that they're any worse. I just personally don't have the connection to them. So I think that was our first real good debate, and I think it ended up turning out pretty well.
Now I'm just
But
gonna tell you right now,
yes,
you were saying that you thought that this was going a little fast.
yes.
we are now into the section of Pokemon that I'm fucking incredibly passionate about.
I'm fantastic. That's gonna be
That
great.
we're about
I don't know how long this video has been, by the way. I have no way of knowing how long we've been recording. I should
we're in
probably
some kind of
start.
weird time vortex right now.
It's true.
I'm making eye contact with you with the full mental understanding that you are making eye contact with me.
Oh, I am, because I'm looking at my camera. That's the closest thing I can get to eye contact.
That was the bizarre moment. It made me feel uncomfortable.
I'm just looking at the little green light. That's what I'm imagining your face, but instead.
Whenever I think of the phrase "green light," I think of Clone Troopers yelling "green light, go, go, go."
I don't even know what that's referencing. I mean, I know what Star Wars is, but
okay,
all right.
Black and white.
I'm just gonna put down black. All right, Pokemon Black.
I want you to make the first move so I can fucking shoot you out of the sky if you're wrong.
I'm going second place.
Below platinum.
Yes.
What if I told you I've been harboring a dark secret? That's a lie. Harboring a lie.
Is it that you strongly dislike Unova?
No, it's that I love Unova. I fucking love it. I cannot. Pokemon Black.
Honestly, I don't think we've ever discussed Gen 5 before.
Pokemon Black is Game Freak's strongest creative statement.
Okay.
Pokemon Black is one of their most confident games, where they were so confident in Pokemon as a concept and a notion and a brand and idea that they were like, fuck your nostalgia that they lean so heavily into. Now they say, we believe in this formula. We believe in our design. This is something fresh and new. And it felt fresh. It felt new. Love the story. Love the region. Love the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Gen 5 haters, no.
I mean, honestly, they are not around as much anymore.
No,
Gen 5 is on a fucking pedestal right now.
Gen 5 is on a fucking pedestal.
And that's good. Honestly, I'm down for that. I also very, very much like Unova. I have more of a nostalgic connection, is the word I was looking for, connection to Sinnoh and to Gen 4, which is why I personally put Platinum higher. I enjoy the music I think the music is better. I remember the locales a lot more.
Sure.
I personally think that the new Pokemon added in Sinnoh, whether that be expanding on pre-evolutions or new evolutions of old Pokemon, or just the lines they introduced, I think that fleshes out the world of Pokemon a lot more and makes it all feel more coherent. I mean, the fact that a lot old Pokemon evolve and have pre-evolutions really connects all the games together. But I really, really, really do like Black and White. Black was the first game I ever bought with my own money. You said something was the first game you bought with your own money, but I, like in the last video, but I can't remember what it was.
New Super Mario Brothers Wii, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's what it was. But I really enjoy Unova. I remember, I have a weird connection to these games. I had a babysitter that was a fan of Pokemon, and he showed me how to find that there was a new Pokemon game coming out before anyone had even heard of it. In like my fourth grade community, whatever. And so I found out that there were all these new Pokemon coming, but it was this website that only had the Japanese names. So at a point, I knew almost all the Unova Pokemon through their Japanese names. I don't really remember any of them anymore. But that was my introduction to it. And I was really excited. I would check that website like almost every day. And I would just be wondering for what's going to come out. What are the new Pokemon going to look like? All this stuff. It was a really cool experience when I was a kid. And another Gen 5 memory was me going to a Japanese like supermarket with my mom and my brother, and me and my brother looking at the Pokemon card section that they had and seeing these weird Pokemon that didn't look like they were real. It was Zora and Zoroark. And we're like, these aren't real these are fake Pokemon cards. We're not going to buy these. These aren't real Pokemon. We're not stupid. And then they turned out to be real Pokemon. And that's just a memory I think back on a lot, just because it's interesting being a kid and being able to experience something like that, because it always feels like there's something weird and fresh around the corner. And that's really what Gen 5 was. The complete wipe, I loved. I know people disliked it, but I think that it really was a good idea. And I don't mind that Patra is just Bidoof. I don't mind that Pidove is just Pidgey. Like, Pokemon and animals are analogous, and there are different birds that are similar that live in different countries. I think that's fine. And giving them new designs and giving them slightly different typings and everything, I'm fine with Pokemon that have similar origins. Some of the fact that Gen 5 was completely new, I do think stretched the Pokemon design a little bit thin. Some of the Unova designs are a little bit off-putting. I'm obviously used to them now, and I don't think they're terrible, but I do think that it is a little bit almost incoherent and doesn't feel the same as the other ones, which is probably what they were going for. But I mean, even afterward, I think since we've had more coherent generations, and Gen 5 definitely has a different take on design philosophy for its Pokemon. But they're great. They're very good games. And I still have my Black save. The one thing I will say is that the version differences in it are a little bit weird, a little bit stronger than other generations. Black City versus White Forest is a very big difference. I remember my friend getting to White Forest and being able to catch like old Pokemon, and then I show up in Black City and it's like, oh, this is just worse. I got the worst version of the game.
Yeah,
that was weird, and I actually do think that that's like almost a design flaw. But otherwise, I really did enjoy these games.
the only thing you just said that I disagree with is the idea that there's different birds that live in different countries. Other than that, I agree with everything
Because you think birds aren't real?
No, I know that there's at least one or two of them, but they're just everywhere. They're ubiquitous. There's not birds in different regions.
Okay.
That's the only thing that I took issue with.
Yeah.
But I agree. You've said a lot of things. Personally, I'd put it above Platinum. But if you want to put it below Platinum, I think Platinum is so wonderful, I'll allow it.
Well, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take this win for myself because I think we will both agree that the next game is going to be number one.
No.
Oh, fuck.
Nope.
Okay, well, then I'm definitely taking this one. Okay, you know what? For variety's sake, White 2. Wait, oh, what? It includes it as Black and White 2. What the heck? There's not box art. Hold on. Okay, do you want to talk, or are you just going to stare at me, presumably?
Here's what I want to say. I had to take a moment to formulate. I need a moment to think, to ruminate. Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 are a tacit admission from the Pokemon Company that they don't want to take risks as much. Because after the risk that was Black and White 2 feels a lot safer. And in the process of feeling safer, I think it loses a bunch of its identity. I think that having the older Pokemon back was fine. It was all right. It's whatever, take it or leave it. But I think that the story is so underwhelming. I think it's a lot less iconic. From a mechanical perspective, it's pretty great. But I don't think it hits the highs creatively that Black and White do. I think mechanically, I'd probably put it above. From a gameplay perspective, sure. But from a perspective of me loving Pokemon for its imagination, its creativity, the feelings of wonder and adventure it evokes in me, I don't think it felt as fresh or as fun as Black and White did. I think it lacked that spark. I think it lacked the confidence. And then to just have Kyurem back, but now he has Kyurem fucking Fire Charge or Kyurem Black Ice Boy. I don't really remember the names of the forms, to be honest with you, because that's when I think Pokemon's legendary design started to fall off a little bit too. It started to get a little bit homogenized. I think Pokemon started to lose a little bit of its special sauce there. I just don't think that creatively it's as bold of a statement as Black and White.
I think that's true, but personally, as a Pokemon fan and not as looking at these games as fucking works of art made by a company, but as worlds to explore and as games that I enjoyed playing as a kid, the sense of exploration of re-exploring Unova in an entirely new light, in seeing that this is 2 years or whatever amount of years later, I can't remember the specifics, but that there are characters that are older that have filled new roles. We've never gotten that in a Pokemon game. I mean, this is a world that has grown. There are new gym leaders that have taken the places of the other ones, but those characters are still out there in the world to find. And the fact that you're traversing through Unova backwards. And I think that that's really cool, is that they have taken an entirely new perspective on the design of the original region and the expansion of the Pokedex and the inclusion of old Pokemon that have somewhat new context because they're catchable in these new locales, and they have the updated sprite work that is animated, and it really gives a new feel to all those classic Pokemon. I think that's really important. And I mean, honestly, I like the design of it a lot. I really like I think all the character designs of the new gym leaders and of the main playable characters are a lot better than the character designs and the playable characters of Black and White. I'm not a fan of Hilla and Hilbert, but Nate and Rosa are both top tier Pokemon protagonists. And honestly, I just have more memories with Black and White too.
Yeah.
Black and White is a fantastic game, as I've said, but I really do think that Black and White 2 filled the gaps that I had with Black and White in connecting it to the rest of the Pokemon world and reminding you that it's not just its own thing. This is part of a greater world that has connections. Like, you can find Cynthia taking a vacation by one of the gyms, like on a beach by one of the gyms. And it really does feel more connected than almost any other Pokemon games come before it. And I think that's really what I enjoyed the most, because as someone who loves thinking of Pokemon as a world that is interconnected and wondering where regions are in relation to each other, and what about these characters? Have they met before? Is there a history to this? It solved all those issues for me. And while, okay, I don't remember the overarching story of that. This is the one game where my personal journey in the game supersedes the adventure that is being told to me, which, as I've gone on record in the Great Contour debate, I'm personally someone who prefers to be told a story and then to develop my own story on top of that. But this time around, I really felt like I was discovering my own way through this world, because it was a new perspective on something that I already experienced.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
I never thought I would talk that passionately about Pokemon Black and White 2, but apparently I did.
Here's what I'm gonna say. It was very eloquent. It's very well done. So I'll compromise. How about we put it below Fire Red and Leaf Green? Just kidding.
That is not a compromise.
What if we kept Platinum at the top?
I will compromise.
What if we put Platinum at the top and put BW2 below it, but above Black and White 1?
You know what? I'm going to do a double compromise. You're not expecting this. Double compromise. I will slide Black to the top, and we'll put White 2 at third. I'm double compromising. All right?
That seems...
Because you made a bigger concession than I did.
Yeah.
And I think this is a fair balance. Sounds good?
I'm pretty sure actually you just suckered yourself out of everything.
I did sucker myself out of both things, but I realized that I wanted this to be more fair and to reflect both of our opinions more clearly.
Sure.
So I think that, okay. And look, I do really like Black. And these top three, I mean, I would put Emerald above Heart Gold. I'm shivering right now. I think I'm just really excited. But it's very strange. But these are all fantastic games that I have a lot of connection to. So I'm very happy with this. All right. Thinking about this and looking back at these games and thinking about what other people think of these games, because we have very different opinions from what most people think about Pokemon. We're about to hit some spicy fucking areas.
We're about to do something that is gonna make people scared.
It's gonna ruin our clout. But you know what?
Are we gonna scare people by putting Pokemon X and Y at the top of the list?
I think we're going to.
Are we about to have a unanimous decision?
Well, here's the thing. You know what the difference is?
Yeah.
Both of us have essentially the same experience with this game.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. Both of us completed the National Pokedex in Gen 6. That and exploring Kalos and the music and the new graphics and the Pokemon they added and the fact that the regional dex was so freaking gigantic and every route felt like it had 30 different Pokemon to catch in it, and there was always something new to explore. And the ways that they, in my opinion, upgraded the designs of the gym leaders. I felt like the gym leaders they weren't as integrated as they were in Black and White, but the gym leaders are kind of integrated into the story.
And the gyms themselves are fun.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what I was getting with the designs. I mean, like almost all of them are memorable. I mean, climbing the mountain in Grant's thing, like that's not challenging, but it looks really cool. And it's not what Brock or Rourke did with their gyms, which is a straight fucking path. And I mean, Ramos's tree and the Olympia where you have to teleport. And I really like the spider web for Viola. I mean, I remember more of the Gen 6 gym leaders than I do of almost any other generation. I mean, obviously the Kanto ones are iconic, and I can name all the Kanto gym leaders. Mm-hmm. But my experiences with the Gen 6 gym leaders are a lot stronger. And just the amount of time that I spent in that world, running back and forth on that
the daycare route,
the long path by the daycare, and seeing the different kinds of flowers that replace the tall grass in that area, man, I love that. And I mean, look, it's not huge changes that these games made, but some of the things that they added, like the camera moving around in certain situations, which I was sort of introduced in Black and White, but really in only specific situations. But you have different camera angles in this. You have different modes of traversal, like hopping across the rocks or riding Rhyhorn across the spiky rocks. And what was the one in the snow? Which Pokemon was that you were riding? Mamoswine?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, Colors just had such an interesting feel in that way that the combinations of how, I mean, exploring Lumio City is incredible. I love Lumio City.
Yeah.
And almost all the cities have fantastic themes that I can instantly remember, and the fact that they did play into nostalgia a little bit started a trend that I don't think I enjoyed, but the fact that they were bringing it back and you did get to have a second starter, I think was cool. I'm not a huge fan of Mega Evolution, but I think that it was an interesting mechanic that gave Kalos its own unique feel. And I can go on and on, but I really, really, really like Pokemon X and Y.
You really popped off, and it was actually a grand pleasure for me to see you pop off so much in this discussion. Because I feel like I pop off a lot, but you're just you're rolling and schmolling in just a very powerful way that I wanted to let happen. And you basically covered. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
Pokemon White 2, while I love Platinum and Gen 4 in general, and that's where my connection to the series started because it was my first video game. Pro was my first video game. White 2 and into Gen 6, I took a break. I did not get Gen 6 right as it came out. I got a 3DS and Pokemon X probably in 2016, like early 2016.
Really?
Yeah. So I was not on that hype train. I don't remember Pokemon X and Y coming out. I think that was because I got into Minecraft, and Minecraft overtook my life. And I was like, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not playing my DS. But then I was like, shit, Pokemon is cool. I saw my friend playing X and Y and going through the 3D forest where you could catch Pansage, Pansear, and Panpour and riding on roller skates. And I was like, this is next generation Pokemon. And it got me to buy a 3DS, to get back into Pokemon. And that's when my love for Pokemon really started, was playing Gen 6 and remembering how much I enjoyed Black and White 2. But going forward, my connection to the series grew so much. And Gen 6 is really where my passion for it started, which is why I think I'm going so hard. But give your own spin. I'm handing it off to you.
Here's the thing. You did 95% of the heavy lifting. Okay. What I will say is that we've got a lot of similar threads here. This is the Pokemon game I played the most. This is the one that's most important to me. This is the one that made me the most real-life friendships. This is the one that I actually engage with in the deepest level. I have over 450 hours in this game. I fucking love this game so much. And you covered a lot of the reasons why. I think what I'd say is that for me, Pokemon felt so alive in this gen. It really felt like I was raising friends for the first time. And partially, I think that is a jump to 3D. But
Pokemon and Me actually does make a big difference.
Pokemon and Me makes a big difference.
And power training, super training, that's what it is. Yeah.
But I just think that they really nailed the feel of being a trainer. And I feel like the post-game, while lacking in traditional content, I think is wonderful in the way that it presents you with so many different things to do. And what I mean is, shiny hunting I don't think has ever been better than Gen 6. As a humongous shiny hunter, there were so many fun methods to use. As a Pokemon breeder, they make it clearer than ever to make strong competitive Pokemon. I think the meta was really fun that gen. I think there's a lot to really praise about these games, on top of my own personal bias.
Yeah.
But I really think I'm going to defer to you and your incredible discussion of these games. And all I'm really going to do is say that say that these games are so important to me, and just say that I absolutely endorse them at number 1.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Now I think we're at the push.
We're at the push.
We're at the push.
We're at the game we're unanimously going to put below Red, Blue, Yellow, right?
I don't even believe that you believe that.
No, I don't believe that entirely, but I would put it below Emerald. We're talking
I
about
think
Omega
that
Ruby
is
Alpha
fair.
Sapphire.
Yes, we're talking about. I added it. They can see it on my screen right now. It's
Yeah.
it's tentatively at the bottom of the list because that's what it automatically adds.
Yes.
But Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. All right.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting one for multiple
I
reasons.
put it below Fire Red, actually, looking at this list.
Okay. Well, I know you would.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly would not.
Should I give my offensive? Then you can rebuke it.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I've done 2 in a row. Let's go for it.
These are the only Pokemon games I actively dislike.
So why would you put them above Crystal and Fire, or in the Red though?
Because because I know that I can't get you to put them below fucking.
Oh, so that was your concession.
Yeah.
If you were making your list, this would actually go at the bottom?
This would be in my bottom.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely.
Holy shit.
For a lot of reasons. I think it tramples over the spirit of Emerald. I don't think that the challenge is there. I don't think that contests or secret bases have the je ne sais quoi quality about them. I think a lot of this just feels really off. This for me felt when Pokemon started to become sterile, when it started to become familiar and predictable, and it started to become about upkeeping nostalgia opposed to moving the series forward in a lot of ways. I think that the best remakes in the series are the ones that move the series forwards while looking backwards. Mm-hmm. So Heart Gold, Soul Silver, the additions of the Pokewalker, the additions of the following Pokemon, things like that. I'm gesticulating with my hands. You can't see it.
Yeah.
But these were games that stepped backward. They did little things. Like they took apart, the Pokemon and the Pokemon Center again. They did a lot of things that highlighted to me how the quality of life of Pokemon had improved a lot, and how that these games served no other real function than to look backwards. And for the fans that preferred that older style of game, I think that's important. But for me, I just kept playing it and thinking, why is this easy? So why is this so easy? Why am I not being challenged? Why are they shoehorning in new things like megas, but taking away the quality of life stuff that I think have made the game so much stronger? Why is there a weird split between how these games can talk to Pokemon X and Pokemon Y? Why is there this experience share issue that now I think is starting to crop up? Why did this not take the liberty to add in newer Pokemon? Why is this just Hoenn again? And I understand that, it's to do that to upkeep the spirit of the originals. But at the same time, I look at what Heart Gold Soul Silver did. From a world perspective, I look at what we're going to talk about with Let's Go, another game that I'm going to go to bat for. What they did mechanically to differentiate that. I don't think that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire does anything to differentiate itself from its original, other than standing in its shadow in an era where Pokemon is fundamentally different than it was in Gen 3.
Are you done?
Yes.
I can't see when you've calmed, so I can't tell if you're just doing a pause. But honestly, you made a lot of really good points that I honestly never even thought of when I was playing this game. As someone who grew up playing Ruby and Emerald, I had a fantastic time with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. These are the games that I played the most with friends. I got these games, this game came out, was it the same day as Smash 4?
It was the same day as Smash Wii U, yes.
Yes.
I got them both.
Okay, Smash Wii U, yes. This is the game I played most with my friends because all, five people went to GameStop the same day. We got out of our freaking band thing. We went to GameStop. Yeah. We picked up one guy's copy of Smash Wii U and all of our copies of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. We sat down, we chose our starters, and we played almost over the course of 2 weeks. We played these games together. And it really showed me what Pokemon is more like as a community experience.
Sure.
And I will concede that I don't think this game much of its overall design philosophies when comparing it to how the series had grown. I saw it as a remake, and I never thought about it as a bad thing that the Pokemon and the Pokemon Center were separated. I was like, that's where they were in Hoenn. That's how Hoenn is as its own place in the world. Obviously, it is a design philosophy that they combine them in black and white, but when they do Gen 4 remakes, hopefully eventually, the Pokemon Center and Pokemon might be separated. And I don't know if that's necessarily something to criticize these games for, because they're recapturing the spirit of the original in that way. But I also do think that it isn't necessarily fair to say that these games didn't take steps forward. I think that the idea of having an expanded story in essentially what amounts to an alternate reality, like the mega evolution reality, you know, there's a
Yeah.
split there canonically. I think is really cool. I think the idea of having Latios and Latias more integrated in the story because you have Soar, which is one of the coolest mechanics the Pokemon series has ever introduced. I think the idea of exploring the region afterward and with the addition of, I can't remember what it was called, of the Dex Nav. That's what it's called,
Yes.
with where you can see which Pokemon you haven't caught, which Pokemon are in certain areas, where you can track what Pokemon live where. I think that's really cool. I think that the way that they expanded Hoenn in terms of in terms of the visuals was fantastic. I mean, I like the sprite work in Gen 3, but the Gen 6, you know, chibi style, I think really works for it. And I really like the color palette. It's very vibrant. And that's something that the more pastel world of Kalos really didn't have. And it took me back to my childhood in a different way, that I was re-experiencing. This was the first remake that I really got into. And I played these games a lot. And I played through most of my brother's Alpha Sapphire version. This is one of the only games where I've played both versions almost all the way through. And I don't know. I guess I honestly just disagree. I had such a good time with these games. I think the stuff that they added really did feel different and give these games a more mature feel. But I can understand it feeling like a step back, because it really is. I mean, it's the first time a remake was taking a step back, because it was emulating an older version. Like, going from Gen 4 to Gen 2 wasn't that big of a leap, because Gen 6 or Gen 5 was really where the series started to take big steps forward. So it didn't feel as crazy. But I understand what you're saying, and I am willing to concede these being lower, because you make good points. But I do think that my personal connection to them and the fact that they did have such an importance to me, I think is valid. But I am willing to concede these lower. And I would
Where
like
would
you
you like
to
to put them?
in order to balance.
What if we put them above Emerald?
That's where I was going to say as well.
Okay.
Now, although I don't necessarily think that's fair.
You want to put them above Soul Silver?
No.
That's bold.
I don't think it's fair for you and for Emerald, because Emerald is an absolutely fantastic game, and I almost think in some ways that it's better than Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, because, but just because of how much impact it has and how many people really enjoy that game. But when talking just about us, I would personally put it above Heart Gold. Obviously my list would be,
well, here's what I'm going to say.
This, but I don't know.
When
I don't know if I feel right putting it over Emerald if you dislike it so much. That's the problem.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to launch a trebuchet where these roles are going to be reversed when we get to fucking Gen 7. So I think it's fair to put it above Emerald. So Soul Silver, OM, hold on, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, OA, E.
This worries me.
Part of this is politicking.
Here's the thing. Here's the problem. I made an impassioned speech about these games, but I am not as passionate about these games as I am with Gen 7. And if you're going to use...
Hold on. No, I'm not talking about Sun and Moon.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. All right, fantastic.
I'm not talking about Sun and Moon.
Okay, well, have we conceded? Are we good?
Yes.
Are you happy with this placement?
I'm very happy with this placement.
Okay. All right. Good.
I'm going to go to bed smiling about it tonight.
Fantastic. Love to hear you, and love to hear that you're smiling as you sleep.
Now we get to Sun and Moon. We're in the home stretch.
Yes, we are.
This is the home stretch.
And as I was saying at the beginning, this is a weird one. Maybe it would be okay to put Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon as separate things, because you don't have experience with Ultra Sun and Moon. But they are very, very similar.
What if we
and I do think that Ultra Sun and Moon is in most ways an objective upgrade. So to get the best versions of that generation. Okay.
I say we just go with that, because frankly, my opinions on Sun and Moon are fairly milquetoast. I enjoy them. I didn't connect with them on a particularly deep level. I beat them. I became the champion of the region, and I stopped. I didn't really engage with the post game at all. That was a down year for Nintendo. It was a time when I was really engaged in Sony's ecosystem.
Yeah,
Sun and Moon really pulled me back into Nintendo's sphere for a good period of time. And I really did dig those games. They were my second favorite game of the year, behind Overwatch.
Yep. Yeah. Same here.
2016. And what I'll say is that I think, like Gen 5, I love the steps they took to have their own identity. I think that the trials were a misstep in the grander picture. I think I prefer gyms.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think as this fun tropical adventure, the locations, I think the story is abrasive, but I think the fact that they doubled back down on story and had some interesting, fun, high concept stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that these are really polished and well-made games. But frankly, I'm happy floating them anywhere on this list. This is one where I really am going to defer to you.
Okay. Well, I think you need to defer to me in a pretty strong way. Look, as I said, I'm pretty passionate about Pokemon. I don't know if that's clear.
Mm-hmm.
Gen 7
is your favorite, right?
Gen 7, okay. Gen 7 and Gen 6 are so close. Right. I have so much more emotional connection and experience with Kalos, mm-hmm. and I think I prefer the region. So Pokemon X might be my favorite game, but man,
it's close.
Ultra Sun and Moon is the better game. Mm-hmm. Kalos is a relatively mundane region in comparison, design-wise, and in terms of story, which is the genetic story we didn't talk about, but it's not fantastic. Lysander's not. Yeah, they're the lamest team or villain team by far.
No.
What do you think is? Oh, like fucking team
on the Moon yet. Sword and Shield yet, sorry.
Yeah, I can't remember. Team Yell, yes, of course. But I don't really count them as an evil team. But we'll get to that. But
I think you count Game Freak as the evil team of fucking Gen 8.
Ooh, that's a good one. But Gen 7, the reason I'm having such a weird connection to this is because I have a lot more experience with base Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
But Ultra Sun and Moon are better games because of what they add. So I'll just apply my connections to Sun and Moon to Ultra Sun and Moon.
I think that's totally fair to do.
Yeah.
So do you want to lock it in as number 1?
No, I don't.
No.
I'm gonna put it at 2.
Okay.
Because of how much I enjoy these games, but our overall connection to Gen 6 is, plus these are so close to me that your connection to it pushes it over by far.
Right. Because I would have had to cut down putting it at number 1, but I can go to number 2 because, like I said, even though that was just a time in my life when my engagement with Pokemon was different, and the fact that it was able to engage me so much that year speaks a lot to its quality. Mm-hmm. But I still just was not in a position where I was going to dump as much time into it as I did Gen 6. But had those games come out at a different time in my life, I would have played so much fucking more of them because I really think that they are some of Game Freak's best.
They really are. I mean, look, I haven't done my Alola rant yet, but I'm going to.
Okay.
Alola is a region that showed me that Pokemon can be more than just me going around catching Pokemon and it being like a weird world with all this, these houses and whatever.
Yeah.
Alola is by far the most unique region. I know people will prefer other regions for their vibes and stuff, but Alola in almost every capacity is it's not the most intricately designed. The islands aren't super connective and they have pretty straightforward paths, but in terms of environment design, in terms of the routes feeling unique, in terms of the fact that each island has its own feel, its own ecosystem, and in terms of the cities having to adapt to being on islands. And, there's that one city sticking off of Pony Island that's just planks on the water and like boats that are themed after Pokemon. And this was the first time that I felt that cities felt like they belonged in the world.
Yeah.
Pokemon has the problem that unless it's the big city in a region, it's too goddamn small. Almost every starting town, Black and White 2 aside, has this problem. Mm-hmm. But Sun and Moon, it makes sense. These are not big islands. This is an island community that is tight-knit, that has much stronger connections to their Pokemon than other regions do. There's so many more Pokemon in the overworld, which I really, really love. And they're integrated into nature in certain ways. I mean, what's the name of the first big city that you could? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But that city has wild grass in it, which had never happened in a Pokemon game before, and that's really cool. And I love the soundtracks of these games, and I personally really like the story of these games. I love the concept of Ultra Beasts, of Pokemon from other dimensions coming into the world and wreaking havoc. That really feels more impactful and powerful than most legendary Pokemon are just a story that you find out happens to be real. But Ultra Beasts are something that's happening here and now. And Looker is involved from Platinum, which is really cool. Tying in, you can fight Red and Blue in the battle tree. You can fight Wally. You can fight Cynthia. Like, they really, again, tied in the Pokemon world together, and I think is really cool. The only downside with Pokemon Sun and Moon is that the Pokedex is skimped. You have 300 Pokemon to catch. And I caught all of them. I completed the regional Pokedex in Sun and Moon. Ultra Sun and Moon fixed that in some ways, but not in others. And although it's not Sword and Shield where you can't transfer them over, there just isn't a national dex, which is it's just doesn't make any sense. But overall, I think that the design of Alola and the fact that it did take so many steps to differentiate itself from every other Pokemon region and give its own feel, its own look, the graphics in these games, especially when you get to Ultra Sun and Moon where they've added environmental detail, they're really, really good. They're some of the best that the Pokemon series has to offer. And the fact that now your Pokemon aren't just floating on a circle, they're in the environment that mimics what's around you. That's fantastic. It's a small touch, but it really goes a long way in making you feel like you're in this specific world. And also, I think Pokéride is one of the best things that the Pokemon series has introduced. I've had this argument with my friends before, but not only does it tie together the feel of Alola being so interconnected with the Pokemon around them, but it takes a mechanic that had been getting stale and been getting frustrating and been one of the biggest criticisms with the Pokemon series is the HMs, and turned it into something active and fun and thematically appropriate, and felt like you were really growing as a trainer as you obtained a Charizard to fly on, a Tauros to ride on, a Lapras eventually, or a Sharpedo to surf on and to break rocks with. I really do think that Pokéride is an underappreciated feature. Any other thoughts? I mean, the traveling to the Ultra dimensions through the Ultra wormholes is a cool idea and is allows you to do some cool stuff. But it's a pretty gimped feature in Ultra Sun and Moon. Yes. It's not fantastic. I really do think they could have done more with it. But I think the base games and the world of Alola themselves are so strong that the fact that you're only able to visit a little bit of other dimensions is not that huge of a deal. Especially because it's such a cool concept in itself that the fact that it is gimped doesn't really make it feel like a terrible implementation to me.
I mean, I'm just fucking letting you knock these out because we're down to the last two games now. I think you're doing an incredible job. I think you're blowing me out of the water. You're reaching your peak form right now, and it's terrifying, frankly.
I am mega evolving.
You are mega evolving, but I think that's totally fair. You could have fucking talked me to number one, just so you know, off of that.
Here's the thing. I don't want to put these at number one because of what I said earlier. So I'm very happy with the order that we have.
All right. Well, then we're down.
Question: should I go turn on my light? Is it too dark in here?
It's gotten incredibly dark, but here's what I'm going to say. It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. You can see me. I'm illuminated.
Yes.
I'm radiant.
And you have taken this discussion to such just heights that are undescribable. That the light doesn't matter, and it's adding actually to your ethos. So we're down to the last two games in the ranking. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us this far. We're down to the last two. These are the big boys. These are the controversial ones. These are the controversial ones, I'd say.
Between the two of us or in general?
In general.
Okay.
Let's
go to Pikachu.
Pokemon, do you want me to give my opinion or do you want me to give my position first?
I don't know what the difference is, so you choose.
I would like to put, this is not a joke, I would like to put Pokemon Let's Go. I'm not joking.
Okay, just
I'd like to put Pokemon Let's Go below Black and White and above Platinum.
Okay, well, I disagree with that.
Yes, right. But this is the one that I wanted to give capital on when it came to Oraz.
Okay, I see. Yeah, and honestly, this is one I'm so passionately against that I'm okay with it being conceded a little bit. But I'd like you to give your position.
My fucking Pokemon hype crashed. There was the Abram Buhner Pokemon hype stock market crashed. After it crashed after Gen 7. Just out of the nowhere, I just really lost that spark.
Okay.
For me, Let's Go brought it back because Let's Go feels lively and it feels mechanically different and fun.
Hold on, did you say below platinum or below black?
Below black.
Oof. Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. No. You know, I'm gonna let you give the impassioned speeches that I've been giving. I've been running my fucking gab, but
right.
You know, run your gab.
But I love these games. I think they make Pokemon feel mechanically different. Finally, in a lot of you can say that they feel gimped, but I say they feel different.
I actually would not say they feel gimped.
I think that they take a lot away, but what they leave is an experience that feels fresh. Playing Let's Go reminded me about Satoshi Tajiri's concept of Pokemon being about catching bugs and going out into the world and finding creatures. It felt fun to go out and do that and see them pawing around the overworld and literally throwing balls at them. I thought that was a really fun concept. It's a little bit shallow, sure, but it's a game. I put 30 hours in this game. Played it, completed the Pokedex, boom. And I think that in that time, I was reminded why I love Pokemon. Not only because I think Kanto is a wonderfully simple region, but because I think its mechanics are fresh and fun. This is the best version of Kanto, in my opinion, by far, easily. It's a missed opportunity in some respects, but it's also, for what it is, a wonderfully polished package. I think the game visually is aces. I think it's crystal clear and well assembled. I think that the Go integration gives it an identity that the other games don't have. I think that simply interfacing with Pokemon in a new way reinvigorates the spirit of the series. I really think that stem to stern, these games offered me a Pokemon experience that I needed, and I think that they were an admission by Game Freak that the series needs a mechanical shakeup. And I think that the mechanical shakeup they provided was wonderfully simple. Pokemon is a very complex experience at the highest level. But boiling it down, it's a basic JRPG that's about the feeling of adventure. And I think this got us closest to that. A lot of what I find cumbersome about modern Pokemon games isn't here, not only because it's emulating Kanto, but because its mechanics have been reduced to what they need to be to make the game work.
Yeah.
I think that it's elegantly simple. I think that it's mechanically fun. I think it's a wonderful game. And I think it is the best Pokemon game on Switch.
Okay. Well, look. I think you put your stock in the trade-off between Omega Ruby and Let's Go in a little too quick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually dislike these games as much as you think I do. All right? The things that you mentioned, I actually agree with. I don't have the emotional connection to this because it didn't bring me back to the series. But I do think that this is actually the best. Okay, I wouldn't call this. Here's the thing. I put this in a little different place. I think it's the best the Pokemon games have been mechanically in terms of the things that they added, the Go integration and the Pokemon in the overworld and the throwing the balls and all that. Though I do prefer X and Ultra Sun's like the normal Pokemon style. This is a very different Pokemon game. This is not a traditional Pokemon game, which is why I put it a little lower because I personally have such a connection to the classic Pokemon formula. But everything that they added to these games, I absolutely loved. People complaining about the fact that you didn't battle wild Pokemon, you said you just throw Pokeballs at them. Screw you. I mean, seriously. You enjoy killing all the Zubats? No, just walk past them. Jesus Christ. Game Freak now respects your time.
Not only that, it's the closest you get to fucking turning your hat around and winding up and throwing a Pokeball to catch your first Pidgey.
I played this entire game with the Pokemon controller, which I have sitting on my windowsill right now. I love this thing. The noises it's made, the fact that you can play the entire game with this, it's absolutely fantastic. I used this as a Pokewalker when I was in Manhattan last year, and I loved it. Or not, well, I used it integrated to Pokemon Go Plus, whatever the fucking thing is. This is the Pokemon Plus. That is what this product is called. But everything that they added this game in terms of also they added the Alolan forms and Meltan and Melmetal, which by the way, the Meltan reveal and the whole thing around that is fantastic. That's one of my favorite Pokemon memories is the community coming together and be like, what the heck is this thing? And then they had like a thing around it that they were Dittos, and then and Professor Oak and Professor Willow were like figuring it out together, and Melmetal came later, and then you could transfer them to Go, and I have my Melmetal in my Let's Go. I that's one of my greatest Pokemon accomplishments. I like these games in terms of that a lot.
Yeah.
My turnoffs come from the fact that it is Kanto. And this is, I think, the similarity to how you felt about Omega Ruby, is that this was steps back in terms of scope, in terms of environmental complexity. I love the visual style of this game. I mean, it looks like an anime. It's fantastic. But it highlights the problems that emulating a Gen 1 game has. The blockiness of it, the simplicity of the towns, the repetitive textures. It isn't well designed in that regard, but it is recapturing those feels. So it was also the first time that I really felt like I noticed the problems that I had with Kanto in terms of the fact that I didn't necessarily enjoy having to, find my own path, but not really, in terms of the fact that it was limited in scope and you only had 153 Pokemon to capture.
Yeah.
But other than that, I do like these games in terms of the stuff they added to the series. So, and I mean, Pokemon in the overworld, seeing that in the video, the reveal, I love the reveal trailer for these games.
Yeah.
Showing that you can do local co-op, that's absolutely fantastic. I love that. The fact that the Pokemon are in the overworld, the fact that this is a controller, the fact that you have a Pokemon following you, which you didn't even touch on. Following Pokemon in this game are fantastic because you can ride on some of them. You grab onto Snorlax's belly. This game has a ton of little charm like that I really do like. I have an Alolan Executor in that game, and he's just too tall, and it's fantastic, and I absolutely love it. But the connection you build to your starter is also great. Look, I'm praising these games a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm seceding to you that these can go higher. I would like to posit that they go below platinum.
That's fair. No, I'll agree. That's fine.
But they are certainly better than I gave them the credit for when they came out, and I played them initially. I didn't beat this game when it came out. I just stopped. I didn't care, and I came back to it and wiped out the Elite Four in the last few gym leaders with my overpowered Mew. So maybe it was my personal playthrough of this game that hampered my experience, but overall these games are actually very good.
Yeah.
And I don't like them more than Sword and Shield, but I can see the argument for them being the best Pokemon games on Switch.
I'm gonna be honest with you, you're exhausting me.
This is one of the first times in our videos that I've had the energy, and I'm really liking it. Look, we had this conversation before we were trying to choose what we were going to record, and you were naming off a bunch of things that I really hadn't thought about before, and I didn't know how much I would bring to the conversation. But when you tell me that we're ranking Pokemon games, which is something I do in my head every other day of the week, I can talk about this shit all day. I think about this a lot more than I probably should.
I mean, you're literally making me sweat. You're causing a physical reaction in me. I love
Stop
these
the
games.
shaking. I think it's because I've put my excitement into physical movement.
Yes. Okay. So we're to the last game.
We are. We're at the penultimate right before, but this is
the end
game. We're in the end game now. As
okay.
Dr. Strange would say.
The final Pokemon game that we're ranking today is the one that everybody has either praised ad nauseum or fucking pounded into the ground.
Yeah.
It's either the spawn of fucking the devil himself, or it's IGN's literal favorite Pokemon game of all time.
Wait, is it?
Yes.
That's fucking ridiculous.
For me, Sword and Shield are perhaps the most ambitious Pokemon games that show the most flaws in execution.
Yep. I think we actually have pretty much the exact same.
I think we really agree with this game. I think that Game Freak took a lot of shit they didn't deserve.
Yeah.
I think they took a lot of shit for their own, I would say, quasi or complete lies in a lot of respects. Mm-hmm. I think that they fucked up the National Dex. But I think the simple answer to the National Dex is that Gen 3 didn't have a National Dex. The controversy around Gen 8 is the same as the controversy around Gen 3. But it's louder now with social media. And all Game Freak had to do was stick to their fucking guns, and they didn't.
Yeah.
I think that this was bungled. I think it showed the issues with Game Freak's development cycle. I think it really illustrated why Pokemon needed some time off and why I'm glad we're getting DLC instead of a third game so they can breathe.
Yep.
But these games, and I'm going to roll in the first piece of DLC, Isle of Armor, is, I think, a statement from Game Freak that says, no, you're saying that Pokemon is out of ideas or not. The problem isn't our creativity. The problem is the framework that our creativity operates within. When I look at the wild area, when I look at curry cooking, when I look at the changes that those games make, when I look at what they add, when I look at everything that they do, this could have been the best Pokemon game if they had another year. If they had 18 more months, this would be the best Pokemon game.
I agree.
Game Freak has put me in a position where I am disappointed by the shortcomings of these games, but ecstatic for Gen 9 in a way that I haven't been anticipating a Pokemon Gen in a very fucking long time.
Yep. You're singing the right praises, my buddy.
This game goes below Soul Silver, in my opinion.
That's very, you know what? I'm happy with that.
And my reason for that is because it doesn't show the polish or mastery that the games above it do.
I agree.
But it has, I think, the creative and design, fucking, I don't have an intellectual word anymore. It has the balls to be creative that should propel it to the top 3.
Yeah.
But the execution holds it back. The fact that they want to have moments of cinematic emphasis, but then everyone is fucking silently sock puppeting words. There is so much about these games I look at them and I say, how did that happen? How did you let this happen?
Well, I think the problem with this game, and the name of the game that we've been doing this whole time, is concessions.
Yes.
They had to get this game out at a certain time, and it should not have been. Like, as you said, you need more fucking time in the oven. And I'm sure they were like, look, we could either have static screens with blocks of text, just like the other games, or we could have, cinematic cutscenes, whatever. It's like cinematic moments, like you were saying. But they didn't have time to completely do them. They didn't have time to implement voice acting or to, completely add engaging animations and stuff like that. So they decided that instead of just going for what was there before, that they were going to take the half step forward that they could with the time that they had. And unfortunately, that shows
can I
the
hop
flaws.
In there for a sec?
Yes.
Because I think they took 3 steps forward.
Okay, maybe I was short shrifting it.
But I think they tripped over every step, and I think this is something that's really important to hammer home. The wild area, not only in the base game, but especially in Isle of Armor, shows to me a future where Pokemon is more than it has been before.
Yep.
These games are more than Pokemon ever has been.
Yeah.
But they decided to, and this is a creative choice, and it's one that I respect, but I don't think results in the best product. They picked to not work, they picked to not be defined by their limitations, but show those limitations. Because you could have made a really simple but really polished Gen 8 that would have been, I think, a lot better received.
Yeah.
What they did is they swung big.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the power behind the punch because they weren't given that by the Pokemon Company overlords. But I love what they do in this game. I love it. It feels organic. It feels fresh. Pokemon feel bigger than life. This feels like you can live in this. This is the world you can live in.
Yeah.
In a way you can't before.
Well, here's the thing. I've been talking about all my Pokemon opinions are not based around combat. They're not based around me experiencing the meta. They're not even based around mechanics. Because each gen, which we didn't even really touch on, each gen has its own things. Like we didn't talk about Underground for Gen 4. We didn't talk about the Wonder Trading for Gen 6.
I love Wonder Trade. Shout out to
Wonder Trade is that's a fantastic. So is Underground. That's fantastic as well. But Pokemon Sword and Shield is one of the first times in the series where it didn't go up for me. As we've gone through all these games, I have enjoyed Pokemon almost more and more. It's almost consistently uphill for me.
Sure.
Until Pokemon Sword and Shield, because it actually, I'm on the same page as you for a lot of stuff, but I'm on the opposite page for a little bit of things. That main thing being, I don't think this is really a world you can live in. The limitations that this game has in terms of the fact that it is bigger in scope but smaller in scope in some ways.
That's fair.
Are so glaringly obvious to me that when I think about this game, and I don't think it deserves all the hate it gets, but it does deserve hate in other areas that I don't think are talked about as much. this game has the least memorable music in the series. It has the least memorable towns in the series. The towns in this game are bad. They're terrible. Like the city with the grass gym in it is 3 buildings and a bunch in the background that you can't get to.
Mm-hmm.
The big city that you reach at the end, you can go in like 5 of the doors. It's depressing. It's sad. And it makes it really not feel like that they're alive. I love the characters of this game. I think the story is decent but not fleshed out enough. I do think that the characters are one of this game's strongest.
Shout out to Hop.
Hop is fantastic. Leon's integration into the story, the fact that there's a plot twist near the end. I really like battling alongside Zacian and Zamazenta. That was a really cool moment that sort of spiced up the end game Pokemon legendary battle that had gotten pretty stale. There's a lot to praise about this game. I do think that the wild area is where Pokemon is going.
The wild area is the part that feels alive to me, because camping with Pokemon, seeing the weather change, seeing them react to the weather, seeing how dynamically they exist in the world, that's where it really felt alive to me.
And the idea of over-leveled Pokemon being around that you can run into and ram your head against, get extra experience if you win, but if you don't, you can't catch them because they're too strong, which I do think is a good design choice, by the way.
That's interesting.
Because people complain about Pokemon's difficulty, which I've never had an issue with. I'm fine with them being easy because I just play it for the story and the collection and the world. But the idea of being able to catch level 60 Machamp when you're fucking before the first gem, if you're lucky, I think is absolutely ridiculous and would completely break the game. But what am I trying to say? I like these games a lot. I completed the Pokedex in them. But I do think that they're the most flawed Pokemon games. Well,
I think they're the most overtly flawed Pokemon games.
Yeah, okay. I think that's where I probably should have said that. I will go back and play Owl of Armor and Crown Tundra eventually. Yeah. I'm just not excited to, because I feel like for the first time in Pokemon that I've had my fill with a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I caught all the Pokemon, and I loved using Pokemon Camp, and I really like the unique ways that Pokemon show up in the world. Certain Pokemon have to be evolved in different ways that hadn't been done before, which I think is really cool, and it makes it feel more alive. I like most of the Pokemon that they added in this region. I mean, there's a lot of really good designs, but overall, it just feels a little empty to me.
That's fair.
Everything surrounding the wild area is too simplistic. The routes between the wild area are just bad. They're not well designed. They're not exciting to go through. There's not a lot of trainer battles. And then you get to the cities, and they're pretty empty too. There's not a lot of buildings you can go into. The layouts aren't very intricate. And that's what I remember the most about the game, which is unfortunate because it does, as I said, take a lot of steps forward, and I don't think it deserves a lot of the hate it gets, but I don't know. This is the one I'm most conflicted on for sure.
I think that's why I care a lot to talk about it, because it's the one that I remember most for its ambition, but most for also being emblematic of why the series was starting to wane in interest for me.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have too much more to say other than that.
No, yeah, I'm done. So although I didn't touch on the fact that you're right in the idea of that this game makes me think that Gen 9 could be the best Pokemon game. We don't know anything about it. I hope it takes longer to come out. I hope that they put more time and effort into it.
It'll be out next year.
If it is and it's good, that's fine. That's great. I mean, that's ideal. But if they somehow in another alternate dimension take another year and make Pokemon what it should be on a home console, I'll be ecstatic.
2019 will. Okay.
You think really 2021 for Gen 9?
I was thinking wrong. I was thinking because there's usually 3 years between gens.
Yes.
3
to 4.
Yeah. I know. I think next year we'll get. Sorry, no. I'd skipped a year in the head. Next year I think we're going to get Gen 4 release.
Okay, and that will be.
Or Let's Go Johto. I would prefer Let's Go Johto to Gen 4 remix.
Either one, but man, Gen 9 really could be something special. I mean, showing what they've done with the DLC, just from me looking in on the outside, with Cubfu being more integrated into the story, and
in a bad way.
Well, whatever. I've only seen the beginning of it, so that whatever. But and the higher degree of exploration and open-endedness and interconnectedness and Pokemon following you, however poorly implemented, is back, and that's cool. But yeah, no, I mean, I think Sword and Shield is good, and I'm not confident in it being one of the greatest Pokemon games. In fact, I would probably say it's one of my one of my least favorite, but that just goes to show how great Pokemon is as a series, where even one of my least favorites can still be a pretty good game.
I would play any of these games on this ranking over 95% of what the industry makes.
Yeah.
And it did. But I think we're going to lock that in below Soul Silver and finish the list.
Yep. Save changes. Boom. And I can go back view list. Look at that. Oh, tasty.
Wow. This was fun. This was absurdly long.
It was.
This will be 2 parts. This will be 2 parts.
All right.
This will be 3 parts. This is going to be a week of content. This is a week of content. We're
all right. Well, we'll figure out in the editing process. I want you for the first time. I want you alongside me in the editing process where we can figure this out. But thank you very much for watching, guys. If you are a Pokemon fan, I hope you like this video. Look, I think we explained our opinions on them enough to make this list make at least some semblance of sense. Mm-hmm. When we were going into this, I thought we were going to make a list that people would absolutely despise. But I do think there's if you watch the videos, there's content here that explains why we feel these ways. And someone else can go. Here's the thing about Pokemon. It really is about your personal connection to the games. And someone can share their entirely opposite list of ours, and it can be completely valid because of how consistent Pokemon is and how much your personal connection to them influences your experience with them.
Yes.
But I hope we've explained our arguments enough. Yeah. I hope we've explained our arguments enough not to make this a completely crappy list that everyone gets mad at, because we've made enough videos recently where people are mad at them.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't think jumping from one MDR topic to fucking ranking the Pokemon series is going to do much for our like-dislike ratio, but I think it's going to create really compelling content that people should fucking watch all the way to the end.
Please.
But I think that's that.
That's that. That's all, folks.
Pokepark. So I'll leave it.
All right. Well, I like it.
We're gonna rank the spin-off games one day.
That's gonna be an interesting one because you probably played a lot more than I have.
I'll go to bat for Pokemon Rumble 8 out of 7 days a week.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy these videos. However many of them end up being, and however long they end up being, and however awkward they end up being because we didn't plan for them to be cut up. But subscribe. Look at the description. It's got our Twitters in it. It's got a super spooky secret Discord that I put in there that I haven't talked about yet. If you find that and follow and join it, you'll be one of the first ones.
Tucker's OnlyFans is linked down there.
But we'll see you guys in another video. See you later.
Should we acknowledge what I'm wearing, or should we just keep it low key?
I don't care, but I know you do, so you can mention it.
It's like when you fucking cop the fucking V-Loan collabs and just wear them on podcasts and don't talk about it.
The what?